I was a kid who liked money. That's all. I was very curious about it. I went to a rich kid's school, mostly white kids. And they were rich, and the Asians were poor. So I kept wondering, how come one race is rich? Why is one race poor? I smelled a rat, and I thought the rat was school. And I kept asking my teachers, when am I going to learn about money? And they gave me this bullshit. The love of money is the root of all evil. But that was their way of preventing me from getting rich, by telling me if I wanted to get rich, I wasn't going to go to heaven. I'm only 10 years old. I couldn't drink, in America, call it the Kool-Aid. I just couldn't drink, go to school and work hard and make the rich richer. So that's how it kind of started. And so I kept asking my poor dad, I said, well, how do I learn about money? He says, I don't know, because he's a professor. And professors are poor people, but they teach kids. That's stupid. So I said, why don't you ask your best friend's father? I said, who's that? He says, Mike. Why should I ask Mike, father? He's going to be a rich man. I said, why is he going to be a rich man? Mike's father is an entrepreneur. And I said, so what are you? I'm only 10 years old. He says, I'm an employee. I said, so what's the difference between entrepreneur and employee? And my poor dad said, an entrepreneur has to know about money. I said, yeah. And what about an employee like you? He says, I have a job. And then I started to hear it. Go to school, get a job. I'm going, school's lying to me. And I said, I don't want a job. And that's how the whole thing started. So when I was 10, I just started studying with my rich dad. So I was 10 years old, ride my bicycle to his office. And I had to work for him for free. So he ran a hotel. And I had to pick up rubbish and doing odd jobs. And rich dad never paid me. He said, if I pay you, you think like an employee. But my dad works for money. He says, yeah, but that's why your dad's poor. He says, never work for this. This is what keeps people poor. This, okay. The rupee, the peso, the yen, the yuan. He says, never work for this. And so that's kind of where the whole thing started. So I had to work for Rich Dad. And finally, I started to understand things. Like I'd work for free. He'd play Monopoly with me. So I'm going, why am I playing Monopoly? He says, because you're learning to be rich. And so I played Monopoly and got home. My poor dad said, what you been doing all day? You been studying? I said, no, I've been playing Monopoly. Oh, what a waste of time. Do your homework. If you don't do your homework, you don't get good grades, you won't get a good job. I was so confused. And then one day I asked my rich dad, I said, why am I playing Monopoly? He goes, see all those properties out there? Said, that's my real green houses. I said, what? I play Monopoly for real, in real life. I go, you do what? He said, I play Monopoly in real life. Because he never went to school either. He played Monopoly. The idea of Monopoly is to trade up from green houses to red hotels using debt. Everything is opposite of what those school teachers will teach you. So my poor dad always says, stay out of debt. My rich dad said, use debt. You see, everything is opposite. And that's why most school teachers, I don't listen to them. Look at the biggest crooks in America are professors. This guy, Ben Bernanke, he was the U.S. Federal Reserve chief. He ripped off this whole country. And he's a PhD from Princeton. He was the bailout guy. He not only bailed out the rich, he bailed out many European and Asian countries. They bail out the rich. They let the poor and middle class die. I don't trust college professors. They're poor people with a degree. Big deal. Statistics show. So let's say you have a man. He becomes an entrepreneur. He makes a lot of money. He teaches it to his kids. So the second generation, they enjoy the money. The money's gone by the third generation. Disappears. Because they don't pass on knowledge. They pass on money. I wrote this book here. It says, Who Stole My Pension? What floats the stock market in America are pensions. And Wall Street steals the pensions. So all these people who go to school to get a job and they save money and they invest in the stock market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. I don't touch any of that stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I don't have to. I'm an entrepreneur. Employees have to save money, get out of debt, buy a house, and invest in the stock market. I'm an entrepreneur. I buy the gold mine. I get the gold. Most employees cannot buy the gold mine. I buy the silver mine. I buy the real estate. I buy the hotels. In 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. So 71, a dollar became fake. Then it became the petrodollar, oil dollar. But the economy boomed. Real estate boomed because they were printing this as fast as they wanted to. Every time America got into trouble, they printed this. So right now in America, many people can't afford to eat anymore because this is toilet paper. And our school teachers will never tell us this. I don't pay taxes. A capitalist knows how to use debt and pay no taxes because this dollar is a function of debt. The only way this comes into existence is somebody has to borrow money. So in your credit card, there's no money in your credit card. There's no money anywhere. So the moment you use your credit card, money is created. And the US dollar is debt, the rupee is debt, the yuan is debt, the peso, the yen is debt. They need people to borrow money. So when I go to a bank and I say, I want to borrow $20 million, I get huge tax breaks because I'm creating money. But if I use my credit card, I get nothing. So $71 became fake. Then it became the petrodollar. And then what happened is the economy kept increasing and all this. Then they started pumping all the money into their pensions. These pensions were stolen by Wall Street. So you watch in the next few years, you're going to hear more and more of our pensions are empty. What else happened was because my age, baby boomers, were pumping so much money into pensions, the stock market blew up. Housing prices blew up. Bond market blew up. Now it's all going to come down. That's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I've been studying it for most of my life, since I was 10 years old. How come I don't have some of this? How come the school teacher doesn't teach me about this? Why does my dad always say, go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, save money? Why do that? True. And my rich dad says, I don't do that. There's a thing called Pareto's principle. It's called the 80-20 rule. So like 80% of the people are poor, 20% are rich. There's another rule, I don't know the name of it, it's the 90-10. In America, 10% of Americans own everything. The reason there's such a gap is our schools teach us to work for this. Go to school, get a job, work hard, pay taxes, save money, buy a house, and put your money in the stock market. I don't touch any of that. I'm an entrepreneur. I'd rather be like Mr. Tata, who owns the stock market.